Hello, it's Neil Ball, your online marketing coach from workwithneilball.com. I'm going to demonstrate today how to take two spreadsheets and combine the data from both of them into a separate spreadsheet. This can be useful if you've got two spreadsheets with two lots of data that you want to combine together. You do have to be a little bit careful with this, because if there are duplicate values in one of the spreadsheets, that means that the data on each line isn't unique, then the results that you'll get may not be exactly as you'd expect them. So what I've done is, just to demonstrate this, I've made two spreadsheets. The other thing about this, just before I explain what I've done, I've just remembered that this process will only work within a workbook in Microsoft Excel. So what you need to do is, the data that you want to combine, you need to use separate sheets within the workbook to actually make this happen. So just looking at this here, the first thing I've got a spreadsheet which I've created, which has got name and zip code. So you've got 51 items here with name and zip code. And what my idea was with this was that I wanted to find out which city and state each of these zip codes were in, and put them into a separate spreadsheet so that all the data was combined together. Now I've also got another spreadsheet here which has the zip, city and state. So for this to work, you've got to have a column of data which will be in both sets of data. So in this case, zip is the same on each one. So that's what's going to tie everything together. One of the difficulties of using zip codes like I've done here is that they aren't totally unique, as I've found with this data set here which I've got, and I'm not quite sure why that is, but it seems to me that a zip code can cover, the same zip code can sometimes cover more than one area, and because of that, it means that this won't work perfectly unless you make the data unique. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to take this data and make it unique before I start this process. So to do that, I just go to data and then go remove duplicates, and I'm just going to create a set of data which is unique. But the point of this process isn't necessarily to do this, but to show that you can have two sets of tables of data, and you can combine the two sets of data together to create one table which will have all the corresponding values on the same row. So with this, as I showed you, I've got 50 rows of data on here, but on the zip code column I've actually got 23,000 rows of data. So it's a nice sort of demonstration of how this can be quite a useful tool if you've got two sets of data that you need to combine, and you've got a lot of data, because it can save you quite a bit of time. And as long as you've got some kind of uniqueness, then with the fields that are being used to tie the two sets of data together, then obviously it's a huge time saver. Right, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to highlight the data in the first sheet, and that you're wanting to use to combine, right the way up to the top, because you need the top line here. And if you go to formulas and then go to define names, then what you can do is you can define a name for this. So I'm going to call this name and zip, which is actually the name of the sheet there. And now you need to do the same on the second spreadsheet. Whoops, got too far down there. And you need to go all the way down to the bottom of the spreadsheet of the data, of the range of data that you're trying to combine, like that. And you need to define again. So you're going to, I call a zip code table. It's a lot easier if you call these what you call the worksheet itself, because then you know exactly where you're up to. And so we've now defined those as use the define name to define each of those. Now what you need to do is you need to go to a separate tab where you want to combine the data to. So I'm just using sheet 3 here, and you need to go to data up at the top here, and you need to say select from other source and drop down to from Microsoft query and click that, and then you need to select Excel files and click OK. And what happens then is it will actually bring up this box here, and from here you need to then select where the data is going to come from. So in my case here, it's on there, and there we have it. It's in there, and then you need to select the actual workbook. Now to do that, if you select all files here, you can actually select the workbook. So you select that and click OK, and this has got 2 sets of data in here because I've actually done this previously. So but if I just take the ones that I've just created, that was name and zip there, so I add those to there. In fact, you can see what's actually happening here is you've got within that you've actually got in fact, if I just take these back across, you'll see when I drop that down, you can see you've got name and zip. So you can actually select, you can either select the container for these, or select the individual columns of data, whichever's easiest, or whichever one gives you the results that you need. In this case, I want to combine all the data, so I just select the container at the top. So I select that one there, and then this is the other one that I just created. So send that across there, and then click next. You'll always get this error here, or this message here. Just click OK. It's just saying that it couldn't join the content together, or the columns together, and it's asking you to do it manually. So you click OK, and then what you do is now the columns that are going to you're going to tie together is the zip code. So if you just highlight that and keep your finger on your mouse and literally drag it to there, then what it does is it'll actually create a link between the two the two columns which have the zip data in from the 2 sheets. So just give it a moment to do that. Right, so it's done that, and the next thing to do is if you go File. In fact, let me just pull this down a bit so you can see it better. There you go. So on this Microsoft query screen, you can see now that zip is connected to zip, and the next thing that you need to do is if you click File and then go to Return Data to Microsoft Office Excel, like that, then you need to select the cell, the top left-hand cell location that you want the data to populate from, which most of the time is probably A1, and you then click OK. In this box here, just click OK, and there is the data. So what it's done is it's taken each of these and it's taken the zip file, the zip code here, and checked it down these 40,000 references in it. Sorry, 23,000 items here, and where it's found a match, it's combined the 2 sets of data together, So you can see that that zip code matches that zip code because they've come from a different. They've come from obviously the two different sheets. So you've got the name, you've got the city, and you've got the state, and it's done that for all 51 of them, which is absolutely superb. And it's a really useful thing to do. It probably wouldn't work. I don't think the example I've given you here isn't probably the best example of how you'd probably use this, because, as I said before, the actual data in the zip code file that I've got here is not. I've looked at it, and the zip codes are not totally unique. So this isn't a brilliant example of how you'd use this particular feature, but I'm quite sure you'll come across situations where you've got two sets of data that you want to combine together, and you have one set of data in one sheet and one in another, and as long as you've got uniqueness, then it works great, and you don't even have to have the same number of records. So if one set of data is unique, and you've got another set of data which contains that unique content plus extra content that you don't need, as long as there's uniqueness, then, as you can see here, it's only showing where there's a match. So anything that doesn't match from the first table to the second table doesn't actually get combined into the with Microsoft Query to this final results table that was being created. To subscribe to my list and receive free tips on internet marketing and making money online, go to www.workwithneilball.com. Also, for more information on how I coach, how I teach, plus the things that I do for my team, go to www.workwithneilball.com. Again, that's www.workwithneilball.com. Until next time, goodbye.